I still vividly remember the day I was almost kidnapped. I was 14 years old and lived in a busy urban city surrounded by skyscrapers and parks. The nearest big city was a 2-hour train ride away, and as in any busy place, the area I grew up in was known for its diversity but also its challenges. It was a mix of the financial district and the vibrant cultural district, and the people there were, and still are, dealing with the hustle and bustle of city life. From the first year until the 4th grade, I studied in a nearby school 200 meters from my house. However, this school didn't teach 5th grade, so I ended up using the subway for the first time the year this story happened. At 6 a.m., I would walk out my front door and wander through the crowded streets until I reached a major intersection with several subway entrances. Every morning, our train would pick up 3 students from a station about 100 meters away from us, then continue on its way, picking up more students before finally returning to pick us up. My travel companions and I have always thought it ridiculous that they would put 2 stations so close together. So sometimes, when we felt like it, we would walk the extra distance and arrive at the main station to catch the train early. One morning, I went out early because I noticed a severe snowstorm and some strong winds that would slow down my journey toward the station. I was wet when I got there, and when I arrived, I looked at the subway station 100 meters in front of me. There was no one there yet. I thought some students might not have shown up due to the weather, while others were probably still checking their phones to see if the day was going to be a late start. I remember touching my face and feeling patches of cold, stiff skin around my cheeks. It was a common occurrence in this type of weather. I immediately headed to the pre-station so as not to get wet. For several minutes, there was nothing but me, the howling wind, and the sting of the snowflakes hitting my face. Then I saw an old blue car around the corner. It moved at an astonishingly slow speed in my direction, and my heart began to beat faster when I noticed the disheveled-looking woman staring at me from the driver's seat. I kept driving, but as soon as she passed me, she stopped in the bus's path. I stared at her from across the street, wondering what this woman was doing so early, blocking the road in the middle of a snowstorm. I was having minor vision problems, but I didn't have glasses yet, so I squinted as hard as I could to try to see what was happening inside the car. That's when I realized she was holding a vertical object in her left hand, and that object was pointing directly at me. It was a camera. I started to panic as my muscles froze, paralyzed with fear. Why was this woman taking pictures of me? What struck me most was the strange way she held the camera, using only one hand and holding it sideways. I began to hyperventilate as I realized that I was too far from home to return, and that most people were probably still asleep with their doors closed. I was stuck. If this woman decided to attack me for some reason, there would be no way I could escape from her being. That was the only thought I had when the car started moving slowly and overturned to the side of the road I was standing on. But I was so shocked and terrified that my body simply refused to obey me. She drove the car in this annoying, painfully slow way as she got closer and closer to me. I almost fainted when I reached my stop. She felt her car begin to slow down even more when she began to hear a loud honking sound coming from up the street. Suddenly, the headlights of another car pierced the veil of rain, which made the woman press her foot on the gas pedal and drive off at full speed. If it weren't for this set of circumstances, who knows what terrible situation I would have been in. One of my traveling companions arrived a few seconds later, and I finally mustered up the courage to move and run straight toward her. 2 years later, news broke that a 7-year-old boy had gone missing in a nearby neighborhood. I'll never know for sure if that story was directly connected to mine, but I shudder every time I think I may have been staring directly into the kidnapper's eyes. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and become a member of the family. Also, don't forget to share and like with your family and friends. If you have a horror story or other terrifying experience, you can submit it. Make sure to activate the bell button to receive all new updates. We love you very much and hope you have fewer nightmares. It was mid-October 2015, and my family and I were taking a trip to attend the company's Halloween party. This was an annual tradition, and my child was happy with it. The company will hire someone to dress up as a scary character, adding a touch of excitement to the event. The ceremony was also special for us workers, as it coincided with the distribution of our performance bonuses. Despite the challenges the company faced that year, we were satisfied with what we received, and the evening at the party was a success. Little did we know that the journey home would take an unexpected turn. We got into the Ford Explorer and put on a movie for our son, anticipating that he would fall asleep shortly after we hit the road. As we were leaving, one of my co-workers laughed, pointing out that I had the right idea to leave early, because a snowstorm was approaching. I didn't hear any storm, assuming it was just snowflakes, nothing we weren't used to driving through. So, we set off on our journey, and within minutes, my wife informed me that our son had already fallen asleep. We turned down the volume, and soon after, snowflakes started tapping on the windshield. At first, it was just a drizzle, and we weren't too worried. I adjusted my speed, thinking it was nothing more than a passing shower. Little did we know that a big storm was brewing on the horizon. After a few minutes of light flurries, the sky opened up, and we found ourselves walking through a deluge. Visibility became close to zero in seconds. In retrospect, it would have been wise to keep an eye on this week's weather forecast. We tried to persevere, but with the roads winding through the hills and our baby on board, safety forced us to stop. I found a spot on a low hill, applied the emergency brake, and we prepared for an unexpected stop in our journey. We settled into the car, wrapped in blankets from the back of the SUV, and to our surprise, our son saw it as an impromptu camping adventure. We did not know that the situation would take a turn for the worse hours later. I'm not sure why, but the road froze during our break. Maybe it was a sudden drop in temperature, but as we slumbered, the road ahead turned into a treacherous layer of ice. The slight incline we were on, combined with our movements while sleeping, caused the SUV to start sliding down the slope. I was suddenly awakened by the sliding motion and joined my wife in securing our son while I tried to find a solution. Unfortunately, there was none. The emergency brake was engaged, and our descent seemed unstoppable. Preparing for the worst, I held on tight to my family. Then, unexpectedly, a loud thud. The back of the SUV hit something, and miraculously we came to a stop. Not everyone was hurt. While investigating the source of our sudden stop, we discovered a large fallen tree that had struck the bottom of the SUV, preventing it from sliding down a steep 20-plus foot drop. A frightening realization set in. If we had not been stopped, the outcome could have been much more serious. Every year around the holidays, my family rents a cabin on the other side of the country. My extended family, including cousins, aunts, uncles, and even grandparents, gathers for our annual reunion. It's a tradition I eagerly anticipate. This year, we decided to explore a different location for our festive get-together. Rumors circulated about an impending snowfall, but no one appeared overly concerned. Undeterred, we embarked on a lengthy 5-hour drive across the country, reaching our destination and reuniting with the rest of the family. The initial night was delightful, filled with joy at seeing family members I hadn't encountered in nearly a year. Sometime during the night, I noticed snowflakes gently falling outside. It wasn't much at that point, but the following morning, we awoke to a picturesque scene with at least 5 inches of snow covering the landscape. I hadn't anticipated such heavy snowfall, and it showed no signs of abating. The younger members of the family were ecstatic, spending the entire day frolicking in the snow. The weather forecast predicted the snowfall would continue until the following night. The day proceeded splendidly, featuring delicious food and enjoyable moments. However, the night took an unexpected turn. It's essential to note that our accommodation was situated in a remote area. A small shed-like structure stood at the back, seemingly off-limits and securely locked. The snow had accumulated to the extent that we were effectively snowed in. Around 7 or 8 o'clock, one of my uncles entered, inquiring if anyone had been outside recently. Fresh footprints surrounded the cabin's perimeter, despite no one having ventured outdoors for hours, and the snowfall persisting. Several family members braved the cold to investigate. Intrigued, I stepped onto the porch, confirming the presence of footprints leading into the backyard. As everyone returned inside, I overheard hushed conversations among the adults in the kitchen, their expressions revealing concern. A sudden knock on the front door interrupted their discussion. My Uncle Mark approached and opened it, revealing an empty exterior except for fresh footprints near the entrance. Perplexed, we were unsure of our next course of action. Although we had cell phone reception, the severe weather conditions made it unlikely for the police to reach us. We decided to secure all doors and windows, ensuring everyone remained indoors for the night. To my knowledge, nothing untoward occurred for the rest of the night. By morning, the snowfall had ceased, and a slight rise in temperature had initiated melting. Family members ventured outside to capture pictures in front of the cabin. After the photo session, most returned indoors, while I lingered outside, examining the lingering footprints not matching any of ours. Some were positioned near various cabin windows, suggesting someone had been observing us during the night or early morning. Intrigued by my surroundings, I approached the backyard shed. Although I initially observed nothing unusual, I noticed footprints leading into the adjacent woods. Despite my curiosity, I refrained from entering the woods alone. Near the woodland entrance lay an unexpected discovery, a pair of old jeans. The presence of such an item raised questions, but with a growing sense of unease, I opted to retreat indoors. Choosing not to disclose my findings about the window footprints and the abandoned pants, I believed it prudent to keep silent. Given our imminent departure later in the day, I decided to maintain the peace. Nothing else transpired, and as we departed for home, the strange encounter lingered in the back of my mind. In the vast, isolated wilderness, the question remained: was someone merely playing a prank, seeking a reaction, or did they harbor more sinister intentions? This journey began last year, an adventurous tale that still captivates my thoughts. Our region was in the icy clutches of a massive blizzard, roads barricaded, cable lines down, and widespread power outages. It was a challenging time, but our cabin was one of the fortunate ones with power, and all we could do was brace ourselves and wait for the storm to relent. As the night blanketed the world in darkness, around 10:30, I found myself in my cozy cabin room attempting to create amusing TikTok videos, a futile endeavor in the face of the storm's fury. Amidst my creative struggles, a tapping sound interrupted the silence, emanating from the window of my second-floor cabin bedroom. Initially, I dismissed it as the persistent assault of snowflakes against the glass. Ignoring the tapping, I delved back into my creative pursuits. However, the tranquility shattered with a second, much louder tap on my cabin window, akin to a forceful strike. Intrigued, I was about to investigate when a text message popped up on my phone, a mysterious number composed of ones and eights. The message simply read, "Look out your cabin window now." A shiver ran down my spine, but curiosity got the better of me. I approached the cabin window, the source of the tapping, squinting through the darkness and heavy snowfall. Unable to discern much in the inclement weather, a decision was made to seek my dad's guidance. Concern etched on his face. He urged me to stay put while he ventured into the blizzard's fury to inspect. 10 minutes later, he returned, snow-covered and chilled to the bone. Hastily securing the cabin doors and checking the windows, my dad disclosed a disturbing revelation. Footprints traced from the woods to our cabin, leading straight to my cabin bedroom. Holding up a plain white bandana, he revealed its eerie message scrawled in ominous ink: "Your child isn't safe." Alarmed, my dad promptly called the authorities, but the treacherous conditions delayed their arrival until the next day, when the snow-laden roads were navigable. The officer listened as my dad recounted the tapping, the cryptic text, and the chilling bandana. Unfortunately, no one was apprehended, and it seemed the gravity of the situation was lost on the authorities. Now, whenever the winds howl and the snow falls, the haunting thought lingers, that the enigmatic intruder may return. Stay vigilant. Stay safe in the comforting embrace of the cabin.